One of the things that stands out to me in looking at this, it's not just that she's back on the basketball court and it's a relief, but her speed seems to be back. We saw it on that step back three on the first day of practice, but there was a play in the day two, and this play for a number of reasons is very exciting to watch.
She's on roids. That question is everywhere right now. Because Caitlin Clark just showed up to Team USA practice moving in a way we didn't see for an entire WNBA season. And before this gets twisted into something reckless, let me be very clear, what you're about to see isn't a scandal. It's something much bigger. And honestly, much more uncomfortable for the league.
Look, coming downhill, great pass, right, to Jackie Young down there. So, dribble handoff, skirt, and just moving quick with intent, gets it to Jackie Young, who misses the layup, but fights.
Watch this carefully. The handoff, the turn, the acceleration. That burst wasn't supposed to be there, not after the year she just had. Not after the injuries. Not after the way her season looked on tape. This wasn't gradual. This wasn't tentative. This was decisive, explosive, confident Caitlin Clark.
The U16 team, I remember they always talk about the senior national team, and obviously that's every young girl's dream when you're on those teams. And you know, they talk a lot about that team, and you know, only like one or two of us was ever probably going to be able to get a call up to be on the team, or let alone be able to get a call up to come and be a part of the camp and be around the tremendous players that they have had on their teams over the course of, you know, the many years and the many gold medals that they've won. And so I think for myself, like, that's kind of what you start thinking about, is like how long I've kind of been involved in USA basketball and the journey that it's been. You know, I've been on teams, and then I've had moments where I've been cut and I haven't been on teams. So you experience all of it. And I think that also speaks to how great USA basketball is and how dominant they are. Like, there's so many amazing players that have been a part of it and have worn 3 letters across their chest. And, you know, for me, you never take that for granted. So I'm super excited to be back here and kind of kick off this next cycle.
The confusion makes sense. For months, the public narrative around Caitlin Clark was simple. Sophomore struggles, growing pains, adjusting to the pros. Neat. Comfortable. Easy to explain. But this movement doesn't match that story. If this speed exists now, the real question isn't what changed, it's what was missing before. Caitlin Clark entered the league under pressure no rookie in WNBA history has faced. Historic college run. Olympic roster controversy. A franchise needing her to be everything immediately. Then came the injuries. Clark later acknowledged that injuries impacted her confidence, especially her shot. Not because she forgot how to shoot. Because her body wouldn't let her be herself. So let's address the loudest, dumbest accusation head-on. There is zero evidence, none, suggesting Caitlin Clark used performance-enhancing drugs. No reports. No investigations. No failed tests. Nothing. What you're seeing isn't artificial enhancement. It's recovery. Look at her base. Her balance. The rhythm. That's not a player adding something new. That's a player getting something back. Even her passing is different. The angle to Dearica Hamby. The timing. The confidence to attempt it. That's vintage Clark. Here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. Caitlin Clark didn't suddenly fix herself. She stopped playing hurt. Professional sports reward availability. The league doesn't stop. The schedule doesn't care. And sometimes, stars pay the price quietly while the machine keeps moving. At Team USA, Clark isn't the savior. She's one elite player among many. The burden is lighter. The system is cleaner. The spacing makes sense. And suddenly, the game bends around her again. The Indiana Fever need to answer a hard question. Did they learn anything? Because running your franchise player into the ground doesn't build a future. It risks destroying one. Clark was still good last year, even at maybe 60%. That should terrify the rest of the league. Caitlin Clark isn't just a star. She's a growth engine. Ratings. New fans. Global attention. If the league can't protect players like her, it risks more than wins. It risks momentum. She's fast. She's healthy. She's confident. And that's both the best possible news and a warning. Because now we know what Caitlin Clark looks like when nothing is holding her back. They didn't mean for anyone to notice it. It wasn't a headline. It wasn't a press release. It wasn't even a highlight package. It was just one rep in a Team USA practice. A dribble handoff. A turn of the shoulder. A first step that didn't exist for an entire WNBA season. And suddenly, everyone watching felt the same thing. Wait, when did Caitlin Clark get that fast again? Social media did what it always does. The clips looped. The comments escalated. Some people joked. Some people accused. Some people asked the quiet question nobody wanted to say out loud. Is she on something? Let's shut that down immediately. There is no allegation here. No evidence. No report. No test failure. No investigation. Nothing. But the reaction matters. Because reactions don't come from nowhere. They come from contrast. And the contrast between what we're seeing now and what we saw last season is so sharp, it's forcing people to confront a story they were comfortable ignoring. This is not a story about enhancement. This is a story about loss. And recovery. And how an entire system normalized watching the most important player in women's basketball play compromised, and then blamed her for it. Speed doesn't just vanish. Not for athletes at Caitlin Clark's level. Not without a reason. Not without the body stepping in and saying no. If you watched her in college, you remember it vividly. The way she'd turn the corner before defenders could even shift their weight. The way she'd separate on stepbacks that looked unfair. The way help defense always arrived a beat too late. That wasn't just skill. That was timing, confidence, and physical freedom. Now contrast that with last season. The first step looked heavier. The pull-up looked forced. The release point crept. The balance wavered. People called it adjustment. They called it learning the league. They called it the pro game humbling another college star. But none of those explanations fit what the film was actually showing. Because players adjusting to higher competition don't suddenly lose explosiveness. Injured players do understand what happened. You have to understand the weight Caitlin Clark walked into. This wasn't a normal rookie season. She entered the WNBA as the most visible women's basketball player the sport had ever produced. Her college run didn't just break records, it broke audience ceilings. People who had never watched a women's basketball game before knew her name, her shot, her range. With that came expectations that number 22-year-old athlete should carry. Sell tickets. Fix the franchise. Raise ratings. Justify the hype. Do it immediately. And then came the Olympic conversation. Left off the roster. Debate everywhere. Supporters furious. Critics emboldened. All of it before she'd even had time to breathe.